think it's a chance to really explore with others our shared understanding of autism. Even since those last cohort that I might have sent on the course in those last few years, our understanding of autism and how that person interacts with the world has developed and changed. So at Studio 3 always keep you really up to date on all the best research and the most authoritative voices. So that is a big part of, I think, the course.
The Atlas programme is a stress and wellbeing programme. It's a framework really for how we focus on stress and the links to behaviour and everyday behaviours. Originally the programme was focusing on people with autism, but it's much broader now under the new revised model. But it's really putting stress and stress management at the heart of what we do. The mantra is manage the stress and focus less on behaviour.
Flipping the narrative, changing how we look at things, changing how we look at those kind of behaviours of concern. So that was very much the first day in understanding a little bit about the context in which Atlas is occurring.
It's to get people to just, who have an interest in wellbeing, an interest in stress. It's not all just about people with behavioural issues either, but it's actually to focus on how do we apply the scientific approach of stress management to all the work we do. And of course, with stress management, you start with yourself. So people who go on the programme will be doing quite a lot of self-exploration as well. So it's something we're really excited about for the future.
So day one was very much an introduction to, by Andy, who, as we know, calls himself the recovering behaviourist. So it was a look at how our understanding of supporting people with behaviour of concern, how our understanding of that has changed over time, and looking at some of those behavioural models.
The core theme and the core principles have never changed. It's really about relationships. A lower arousal approach is about relationships. It's about understanding that when people become dysregulated, that you need to regulate yourself first and foremost, and in doing so, you become that bedrock or that anchor that person comes and seeks solace with, and that's where we find that one of the areas where we can start to co-regulate. The worst outcome for everybody is when you've got two dysregulated individuals. It's an even worse outcome when you consider one of those individuals may well be a paid professional. So we'd really like to kind of see our role as being that guiding ship or that anchor that people can kind of seek solace in at a moment of distress.
Then on day two, we were really lucky to have Mark Wetherall come, and Mark is the stress expert. He's all his research at the University of Northumbria is about the effects of stress and how stress affects all of us, not just in care and social care settings, but across all our communities. And that was really engaging, and we all learned a lot on his session. And then we've also had, today we're focusing much more on kind of the people we support and the developmental differences, typical development versus maybe what are the similarities for an autistic individual and what are their differences. So we're leading up on day 3 to focus a little bit more on autism itself, but within that stress and wellbeing model.
What are the subtle differences wherein a person can be quite alike, but they're different? Yeah. If those of us that have been brought up around twins, if you know twins well, it really isn't a problem. One of my best friends, his eldest are twins. People who haven't been around them a lot struggle to tell them apart, and I just go, it's so bloody obvious. It really is obvious.
And what we're trying to do a lot of the time is get an understanding of the individual's thinking styles. Autism isn't really about a collection of behaviours as you see on Rayman and social media. It's about how you think and see the world. As we know, it's a difference. A bit like different countries speak different languages. It is not about a deficit. So in the Studio 3 model, we don't focus on deficit models.
Because if you've got someone whose line of best fit is here, and globally, everything that they are thinking and conceptualising and expressing all fits within that nice band. Really easy to understand what's going on. Really easy to understand what it's like when it's really profound, across the spectrum of all of the measures that we can make there. Very, very difficult if we're not thinking of things from a developmental point of view, to understand how to find that line of best fit when it's like this. Does that make sense, folks? And that's what we're going to be discussing for the rest of the morning.
It's learning from those people who have walked the walk, they have done the research, they have worked with the individuals, and you get that really rounded, holistic view of what it is to better support an individual. But also, a great thing about the course is the fact that it is certified by BCU, the Birmingham City University, and that's obviously a great opportunity for some of us who maybe aren't clinical psychologists, we're practitioners. It's great to be able to get a qualification that reflects your experience and practice.
Do you believe that the human condition is disintegrating that quickly, that it requires something from this size to about this size? Have we changed that much in the last 50 years as a species?
It's broad. I mean, if we go on previous programmes, we had teachers, educators, people with lived experience, parents, so it's quite diverse. I think we have a focus to increase that for the new programmes, to focus also on things like PBS, positive behaviour support practitioners, people who work in this field who want to apply that framework. So we're still going to keep it quite open in the target audience, and really that's the focus.
We've got people from Scotland, from Ireland, and from south of England, north, east, south, west, all over the UK, which is great. We've got people who are working with predominantly adults who might have intellectual disabilities and autism, and others in the cohort are from schools. We've got a couple of head teachers who are trying to bring low arousal approach and positive psychological approaches into schools, which is obviously a real challenge with all the structures there are and challenges with schools. So, a wide cohort looking at supporting children right up to adults in older life.
Well, obviously the Atlas programme has a number of key focuses. I mean, obviously one of them is low arousal, which is something that Studio 3 is known for, which is really an approach to crisis management that has stress reduction in its heart. What do you do when people are literally melting down? There are elements also about wellbeing frameworks, particularly the positive psychological work of Professor Martin Seligman from the University of Pennsylvania. In addition to that, we've expanded the focus on understanding trauma and its relationship to stress as part of that. So really they're the core defining elements that really pull the Atlas course together into a kind of overarching framework really that we will provide practitioners. It's really up to them what they do with it after that, but those are the core driven elements of it.
100%, yeah. So excited. Even though I've been working in the field of autism for almost 30 years, I've learnt plenty that is new to me on the last few days, and I'm really excited and re-inspired me, re-energised me to go back and, keep doing what I'm doing.